Verizon employees in Everett held a tailgate party in the parking lot near their store on Friday as they awaited the results for their vote to unionize. The employees began organizing back in February this year as shrinking paychecks and increased workloads prompted them to take action.
Our pay has obviously suffered. Not only that, they've increased our duties, so that made work more difficult.
I've just seen over time, year over year, just things get worse. And especially this last year, they promised, oh, it's going to be the best employee experience ever. And it's kind of the opposite. They just keep expecting more and taking more and more away from us. And it's about time we stood up and said something.
Around 1 o'clock, the Verizon employees and CWA associates gathered around a cell phone as the National Labor Relations Board reviewed and tallied each of the votes via Zoom.
Yes.
By the end of the call, the vote to form a union officially passed with an 11-1 vote.
Totally pumped. I knew we were going to win, but it feels good to actually win.
Following the victory, Austin Hitch, one of the employees who led the effort, had this to say to his fellow retail workers across the country.
Don't let corporate America or the corporation you work for, the giant business you work for, just take you for granted. They can't run without you. We're not against Verizon. We are Verizon. Just like the Starbucks workers say, they're not against Starbucks. They are Starbucks. Howard Schultz can't make everybody's doppio macchiato espresso, and Hans Vesberg isn't going to sell you a phone. So, stand up. You are the company.
Today's victory didn't come without its challenges. The day after the employees requested their union to be recognized, Verizon sent in their union-busting team.
It was very intense. The vibe definitely shifted in the whole store. They would take us into their office and kind of isolate us from everyone and talk with us for over an hour at some points. They would use information that you gave them against you in future dates. I told them that I was about to get my first apartment, and they told me that I might not be able to pay rent in a union because they're going to make us go on strike. And what's my backup if we go on strike for rent?
The employees believe that one of their coworkers, Brandon Carter, was even fired as part of an intimidation tactic.
Basically, I wasn't on any write-up, and literally a week after, week after we announced we're unionizing, I was called in, and they just laid a whole bunch of things at me and then just let me go. So normally Verizon's a process where there's documented counsel, first write-up, second write-up, third write-up, final written. All that was just kind of skipped, and then, came into work, and then I'm gone.
Another former Verizon employee, Colin Hull, who helped to form one of Verizon's first unions in Brooklyn, New York 8 years ago, believes today's win is going to create a wave across the states.
When we started the union, we thought we was stacking up the dominoes, right? And I guess the dominoes didn't fall where we wanted to 8 years ago, and this time, this is literally the first domino, with inspiration from people like Starbucks, right? Because these folks are inspired by Starbucks, right? We were, in 2014, we was influenced by something else, but just to see all this motion that's happened within, like you said, these folks that are from, call centers or retail stores, right? Actually realizing that this pandemic has taught us that we're vulnerable, right? And that we demand and deserve more from these companies, right? Because we watch these how much revenues they make, right? And we need to be able to have some of that profits trickle down to us when normally it doesn't, if we get barely any of it, right? It's gonna create a wave of workers realizing that they can stand together and they can speak up against unjust things in the workplace. And I think it's gonna bring a lot of people together.
To read the full story, visit linwoodtimes.com.
When we organize,